Good morning. Good afternoon. Hey Jen B. Hey Gala. Hey Goju. How are you doing? And on YouTube, Ola, Jordan, Spiros. Hey Val, how you all doing? Everyone's up. We have our session about to start. Hope you're all well. Wearing green. Hopefully looking for some green pips today. Good morning, Ayakami. I have been wondering, where have you been? Where were you? We missed you. Oddly, just before this session, I was feeling a little bit under the weather, but back to routine, getting a little bit better. We'll give it a couple of minutes before we get started, as usual. Suki, no, I didn't. I don't usually trade the indices. What happened? We'll have a look at the Nasdaq later. Hey, Angel Case, how you doing? Hey, Nick, good day. School activities, all right. You're forgiven. Welcome back, Ayakami. 2 minutes and we shall get started. Jordan, I'll tell you. So Jordan asked a question on how often do I track or trade crypto. Um, I I dabbled in it. Not I wouldn't say at the start. At some point, trading it. Right, I started trading it for a while, and I made relatively good money on while I was trading it. But it was quite quick. It was well, not quite quick. It was very quick. I tripled my account within a very short period of time. But it was so quick that I felt a little bit uncomfortable trading it because it's all very technical based. Then, in terms of the crypto, then after that, the last big run up that we saw, I think was 2 years ago. I think about 2 years ago, um, I did a bit of a long. So I knew I wasn't going to trade crypto that much, so I just did a longer term, just buy and hold. Very fortunately, I did get out almost at the top. I think I was mostly in Ethereum, some of the other altcoins. So I got out almost at the top. I did retrace a little bit, and I just thought, right, just get out. Made some good returns there, and since then I haven't really looked into it at all. Right, um, mostly because I just don't understand it enough. I haven't had the opportunity to look into it too much. So I'm interested, but haven't really committed to finding out too much about the crypto side. So maybe something to look into a little bit more. Hey BL, how are you doing? Good. Got a lot of pips on the Nasdaq. We should have a look on that. Alrighty. Should we get started? Should we get started? That makes so much sense. That's not clever to spread yourself so thin if you're not that well versed. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's good to trade. It's reasonable to trade, but it's not about spreading myself too thin. I think it's more the understanding the comfort level. So I will have to get into it. Right? I think FX is good. I think equities are good. Equities is really to buy and hold. That's all good, but crypto is that one thing that I have to get into. BTC is usually affected by DXY and dollar, so on short-term basis. Yeah, there is a bit of an inverse relationship between the BTC and the dollar index. I buy crypto rather than trading it. Yes, Suki. For now, I think that especially with the pressures on the Crypto, it just seems like bad news. It's more affected by bad news rather than the good news. So every time it does drop, I do get that feeling like, hey, it is a good time to buy and hold, right? Good value. So I look at the. It sounds a bit funny to say value in investing into crypto, but I do look for that value there. Hey Trader X, how you doing? Good morning, Amphira. Good to see you back. Alrighty, so with all of you here, welcome back to the daily market analysis. 3 p.m. every day, Monday to Fridays, GMT plus 8. We do this session. So if you're new to the session, do drop a message, whether you're on TradingView or on YouTube, do drop a message. We do have a whole bunch of regulars here. I'm sure to make you feel super welcome. So drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. If you haven't already, the link is there. The trading community is there for you guys. We have had a lot of very good discussions and communications on Discord. So, do join up. It is absolutely free. Someone did message me about subscription fees. Nothing to pay. Just join up. All right. The main thing you have to do in that is to chat, share ideas, trade ideas, ask questions, work together to improve and trade better. All right, so during this session, what we do is we look at the fundamentals, we look at what news has happened, what's coming up, put that together with the technicals to look for some possible trade setups, right? Some possible trade setups. Mainly, this will be the trades that I'm looking at or I'm looking to get into. So I'm really doing this to share with you my viewpoints, my opinions of the markets. And as I share with you my viewpoints and my opinions, that's where the disclaimer comes in because any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. Please do your own due diligence because the contents of this webinar is not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product. Your objectives, financial situation, and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Okay. At any point, if you do have trading related questions, you'd like me to look into any particular pairs, like Suki was just sharing about the Nasdaq, right? Put it into the chat. Let me know. Some of the pairs I might not trade, but I'll share with you my opinions, my points of view, or brief analysis, and then we can take from there. Okay. K Goosey says, can hear echo on TV, on TradingView. Oh, okay, wait. Hang on, let me just try something. Okay, hopefully that would be a little bit better. Okay, Goosey. Either that or it's just a little bit echoey in my office and I tend to get a little bit excited and speak too loudly. So I'll settle down. I'll settle down. All right. Hope it gets better. Let me know, Goosey, if it's better. Okay. Okay. So either that or jump onto YouTube. Guys on YouTube, any issue with the sound? Let me know. Spiros is asking CAD Yen and Aussie CAD. We'll do that. Yes, everyone follow Jordan's lead. Smash that like button. I haven't said that, so do help me out. Click that like button on YouTube. Click that rocket ship button on TradingView. Hopefully, the algorithm it gets us a little bit more views, a bit more subscribers. Still don't get any money out of it from TradingView or YouTube, but it just looks nice where we get a couple more people watching and subscribing. Okay. TradingView is giving issues with all live streams, it seems. Well, at least we have TradingView, we have YouTube. Hopefully, I'll figure out how to get onto different platforms and then we can have it all across different platforms as well. Okay, so let's keep going. What did we have? Since the last we spoke yesterday, not a lot of news, right? So we spoke at 3 yesterday, 5 p.m. yesterday, GMT plus 8. We did have the euro. Just check the mic. Okay, that's right. We did have the Euro CPI, final CPI, and final core CPI being released as expected, as previous. Didn't affect prices too much, and nothing much else that was going to push prices in any particular direction. Was relatively. I was a little bit surprised that it didn't move too much, and I would check on the Nasdaq, so I'm a little bit surprised that it moved quite a bit. All right. With that, on to today. This morning, right? We had the Aussie employment change number and the unemployment rate. Very surprising that it came out, right? So it was 53K, got revised up to 61.1, expected 24.8. So we did expect a little bit of a slowdown, but I didn't think that it would come out at a minus 4.3. Definitely didn't expect unemployment rate to come out at a 3.7 compared to the previous of 3.5. So, slightly surprised with this bad news or bad data on the employment numbers for the Aussie, and what we actually saw because of that was the Aussie dollar at that news release here. This was 9 a.m. We did see it go from 0.6655 straight down to 0.66, almost 0.6630, and then bounce back up, right? So it's sitting along this support level right now. So I did update the group that we might see some downside on the Aussie dollar. I think that the downside potential is still possible, but it does need to break below the 6630 level, which we identified since last session, right? It needs to break below this low before we could see that downward push continue. Okay, right now, still consolidating at that level. With that, then right now, I was just telling everyone in Discord that it's probably a better to move to the UK on your time zone because everyone's getting up now. What I've been sitting through is relatively quiet markets. For today, the Swiss, the French, the Germans are on a bank holiday because of a sanction day. Okay, so I think that we might see a little bit of a lower volatility for now, all the way through to tonight, where we do have the US unemployment claims number to be released, was 264K, expected 253. Remember again that this is a weekly number. This is a weekly number, so I don't think it's going to change prices too much, especially in terms of the dollar index. All right, and then we do have a whole bunch of FOMC members speaking, and not much else. Governor McCallum from the Bank of Canada speaking about the financial systems review press conference. I don't think it will do too much to the Canadian dollar either. Okay, so take that through to tomorrow. Until the next time we speak, not much else. The G7 meetings is going to start up with retail sales number to come from the Canadians, which I'll tell you about during tomorrow's session. So what it looks like for now is that the little bit quiet during the Euro session, but we might see some volatility, maybe some trending scenarios come back into the US or view that I'm looking towards. SPX moved 50 points yesterday. Okay, we'll look into that. Good morning, Jamil. I am well. How are you? Okay, so now looking at the dollar index. Updating this first. This is the 18th of May. Right, so yesterday when we spoke about this, I did a lot of projections. I did a lot of multi-level projections, was looking at it, coming up to that 103 level, expected it to bounce down and then push back up. In the broad sense, you do see that happening. So it went up to 103, it did bounce down, now it is pushing back up. Okay, so I'll take that away for now. And based on what we see now, it is testing. Hi, M Leader, how are you doing? Good morning. It is testing this 103 resistance level. It does need to break before we're going to see further upside. All right, it does need to break. But like I was telling you all since, well, yesterday, is that 103, we saw that in April, 3rd of April, tested, failed to break over, came back down. Tested this level in March and then at the end of March as well. So a very key level here. I do think that it is going to break. I don't even think that. I think it's going. What I think is going to happen is that dollar index could consolidate along this range, right? And then after that, push up. Would it push up all the way to 103, almost 103.50? I think that could be quite likely. All right, that could be quite likely. And also, if I did, I have this channel, this line, this trend line, but if I did that channel, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work there. So I think this trend line is going to hold. I think it's going to consolidate along 103 and push up possibly towards 103.50. Okay, so that's the quick view on the dollar. Could consolidate along 103, pushing, and could trade higher to 103.50. All right, Jamil, gold. Yes, we will get to gold. And hi, digital business. How are you doing? Well, it is pushing up right now. It is pushing up a little bit right now, but I think that we could see it. It does need to break above 103.15 before we're going to see that continual push. I think it'll consolidate around here, and then after that, break out to the upside. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Then with that said about the dollar index, let's look at the Kiwi dollar. All right, so Kiwi dollar yesterday, we were looking at this coming up to test this high before turning down. It did test a high, it tried to go down before bouncing back up. Okay, so if you did get into that trade, if you did a set and forget onto that trade, it would have hit your stop loss. Okay, this would have hit your stop loss. That does happen. Okay, so but we'll take that away. And right now, it is still consolidating right here. Right, it sounds like I'm going to say consolidating a lot today, but it is still at this level. If we are expecting the dollar index to push up, right? If we are expecting the dollar index to push up, then we could see, the Kiwi dollar, right? Trade like that. So we had that big drop. In fact, we could even do this. Look at that. All right, so we could have that, that big drop down. So you can see that 38.2% holding in that range. So it could trade within this triangle, and then we would be looking for that break to the downside. I'll still be looking for that break to the downside, since we're expecting that dollar index to rise. With that, then a little bit aggressive in terms of entry. Let me just check something. I think it's a bit too narrow here. Okay, I think a little bit, probably a 38.2 as well. Might look like yesterday's analysis where we could be looking at below 6240, stop loss 30 pips, take profit could be down to 50. Could be down to about 50 pips to the downside. With that dollar strengthening, we could see this move to the downside there. Okay. Hi, Sir Gorex. Hi, Tommy. How you doing? We will look at gold. Okay, so that's the Kiwi dollar. Yeah, I think it's going to bounce around here a little bit, but once it breaks, we could be looking to sell down. So that makes sense. 6240, stop loss 30, take profit 50. Okay, sell 6240. So changed it a little bit. Stop loss 30, take profit 50. There we go. Okay, and yeah, it looks like it could happen soon, quickly. Aussie dollar. Okay, Aussie dollar. I'll maintain this view. I'll move this right across. Okay, and I might say 6625. So you see that because of the employment numbers being not great, surprisingly bad, and then we saw that push, that failure to push back up. Right now, trading lower. Just be very careful because of, let me zoom in a little bit, of how price reacted along this level here. Okay, so I would definitely want price to break past this point, which is the 6630 level. Needs to break down before we'll be looking to sell down. With the next big support here, which we saw in March, early March, at 6567. I think we could see it drop, but you could also take this. So I would say this whole thing is at support area. Right, so I'll put that as a support area. Then with that, I would, sorry, I'm moving the charts around a little bit too much. I would say that your take profit could be about 40 pips. Stop loss, if it does break below that point, you could have it at about 20 pips. Right? This would now turn, or very soon, very quickly turn into a resistance, holding price downwards, breaks down from this point, and we could see this trade down. So 6625, stop loss 20, take profit about 40 to the downside. 66. Can't control my mouse today. 6625, stop loss 20, take profit 40. Okay, so why I'm looking at this as, and you notice that this take profit levels are a little bit narrow, a little bit smaller. It's really because of the Aussie, in this case, coming towards the April low. There is a lot of empty space here. I'm not looking at a big move. Similar on the Kiwi dollar, coming down to the mid of May or a couple of days ago, that low there providing a little bit of support. Okay, so just trading it down to that support level first. Excitingly, this is the one that I'm watching right now. I'm watching quite closely right now, the US yen. Right, worked out very nicely. This was one of the trades that I did catch. It did push up. I got out of this trade already, approaching that almost that 138 resistance level. All right, if you didn't get into this trade, or if you did get into this trade, let me know. If you didn't get into this trade, it's too late right now. It's too late right now. Okay, I'll take all these away because it's not relevant anymore. Right at this level is the decision point. It is the decision point because you can see that the last time it got to this point, we saw a big trade down. And then the last time it got to this point in early March, it had a big trade down as well. This was in May, we saw it turn down. Right now, looking at this push, I think that we could see it break. Right, we could see it break higher because of that expectation for the dollar to push up, right? Expecting the dollar to push up, we could see the US yen break that 138 resistance and possibly trade higher. Looking at it on the H4 time frame, 140 was last checked in November. 140 was last reached in November. I'm just checking what's a good take profit level. Nothing much else. Okay, it looks like it's relatively clear to the upside, right? It looks like it's relatively clear to the upside, but I would say because of the way it's reacted back here, just give it a little bit more time or chance to move up, okay, to confirm the upward move. Mark Fear, do we have opportunity to sell on a 38.2? Sell on which one? Are you talking about, which pair are you talking about, Mark? Okay, so on the yen, on the sell, the US yen, it's always possible. It's always possible, but I think that in terms of the risk or the likelihood of that might be more risky. Let me see, where's your 38.2? Are you looking at a smaller term? I wouldn't, you know what? I really wouldn't be very comfortable looking to sell the US yen down. It could go down, but I wouldn't be looking at this point. Okay, I'll tell you what. My general view is that it does need to, dollar strength. We're looking for this to push up, could trade higher. If you're looking to follow the trend up, then 138.20 needs to close above, not just touch. The candle needs to close above 138.30. I'll be a lot safer there. Stop loss, could be 50 pips. Take profit, I would say 150 to the upside. There is the opportunity, I think we were spotting this the last time round, there is the opportunity to sell down on the US yen as a counter trend trade. I think it would be a bit early to try and sell down from 137.30. I would think that it needs to break below 137 first. Right, it's approaching. You are giving away a lot of pips if you're looking to counter trade this to the counter. Okay, the safer counter trend trade will be below 137. Then you could be looking to sell down, tight stop loss, 20-30 pips, take profit could be 100 down. Okay, if you're a little bit more aggressive, then you could be looking to sell down from 137.30. Same thing, you would be looking at about a 50 pip stop loss and then a 150 to the downside. Okay, so those of you who are happy to take on a counter trend trade, then I would say US yen sell down from 137.30, 50 pip stop loss, 55 pip stop loss, 150 pip take profit. If you have more a trend follower, then wait for it, see if it's going to break above 138, 138.30, 50 pip stop loss, 150 pip take profit to the upside. So opportunity presents on both directions, just need to wait for price action to signal that confirmation. Okay, so got a bit to type up here. US yen trend following. We'll be looking to buy from 138.30, stop loss 50, take profit 150. If you are looking at a counter, then we'll be looking to sell below 137.30. Was it 137.3? Yes. Stop loss 50, take or 55, take profit about 150. Okay, there we go. Um, let me know whichever you guys prefer. Right? Are you more trend following or more counter trend traders? Put it in the chat, let me know. With that, then it sounds like a lot of you are talking about gold. So it sounds like gold is getting interesting. I'll have a look at that shortly. Pound. Wait, so we had. Oh, Kelvin said that streaming dropped on TradingView. I hope it's still running. Yeah, I think it dropped and it came back up again. TradingView is just being annoying recently with the streams. Um, okay, CAD yen, Aussie CAD. Okay. So with that, then we look at a pound dollar first. Pound dollar did see, as much as this shows that we would have hit a stop, it wouldn't have triggered. We were looking for it to break before getting into that trade. So I'll take that away. It bounced up, came back down again. In fact, I should have deleted that because I think that view still holds. Right, that view still holds. In fact, I would say that how it's tested this level and it's approaching that again, you could even be looking for a little bit of an earlier entry now. Right? You could be looking if the dollar index does continue rising, and you can see that there's no news on pound dollar. I think that we could see this trade down. I felt frustrated knowing I left the US yen. I'm sure move will continue. Hey, digital business. That happens. That happens when you do close out some that fluctuation, which in this case did bounce back up, but it could very well have done that as well. Right? It could very well have bounced around the next moment, and then an hour just shoot straight back down, and you could have lost money, lost profits on that trade. So I think it's always reasonable to have closed out, but price continued up. There's always the opportunity to re-enter again. So don't beat yourself up too much about that. Pound dollar, I would say that you could look to sell it down. Dollar index pushing it lower. I would hold the same view. So I think the last time we said pound dollar sell at 1.2430. I would now say maybe 1.2435. So it's just a slight revision. Hesitation at 1.24 to the downside. So I would say the same thing there. Okay. But I would say that with that push, it's likely that it'll go down, but I'm not. There's no big driver on why it should go down that much, right? So that's what I'm trying to get at. Is there's no big driver on why it should go down that much. It would be very driven based on the dollar index. So just watch out for that on the pound dollar. I do think that while this might be a reasonable setup, there are possibly going to be a lot of other opportunities, for example, the US yen, to enter rather than to focus too much on trying to make something on the pound dollar. Okay, so it's there, but you could be looking at something else as well. Okay, no worries, digital business. Hi, Data Fook, how are you doing? Hi, I'm Miko. Okay, so pound dollar's done. As we look at that, then we look at the euro dollar. Euro dollar working out very nicely, right? So we're looking for this to have tested. So I need to get a little bit more specific with my lines because we wanted it drop, bounce, and turn down. It dropped more than we expected, did bounce back up, and now it is trading down. If you had that trade, you'll be in the money right now. I think if you didn't get into the euro dollar, then it's possibly, I would say, wait for the hour to close and see what happens. But it's going to be right in the middle of that support and resistance level. Right, it's right in the middle of support and resistance. If you were looking to sell, it would have to break at this point now. It would have to break below 1.0815, which would mean that right at this point 1.0815, your take profit's only 20 pips. Your stop loss is 20 1:1, or yeah, it would be 1:1, right? So still possible, but I think this would be something that you want to look at on the smaller time frame. Maybe something that you do a bit of a scalp on it, or the 15-minute M15, right? M15 time frame. You could be looking at that trade with, yeah, as it continues along that Bollinger Band, we'll see it trade down. But looking at it on H1, possible trade, but just be realistic, knowing that it's a small profit, small profit target at about 20 pips. Okay. Hey Sergey, how are you doing? Everyone's asking about gold. I should jump to gold straight away. Hang on a second. Euro dollar sell 1.0815, 20 to 20. Okay, so 1.0815, 20 pips. So this is a 1:1. So you realize that at this point, with no big news, no big influence, we are looking at slightly tighter trading ranges. We look at the US Swiss franc and CAD, that will go to gold. Shot up, came back down, looking for it to push back up. I think that view still holds. Again, that pattern is there. And I think that view still holds, that it does need to break above 0.9010, get to 0.10 before pushing up. So I'll still hold that view. 20 pip to 50 pips still holds. Okay. Then US CAD. Okay, US CAD has been that one setup that has been bouncing all over the place. So inverted head and shoulder did break out. It broke above that neckline and moved up about 50 pips. Did not trigger. So this was a very safe entry that we're looking for. Did not trigger that entry before coming back down again. Now consolidating or testing around, trading around this 1.3470 level. Looking at this and the way that price has been moving, okay, we could have that, or we'll have that trend line holding prices there. Okay, so I am still looking for possibly this move. CAD to maybe come down a bit before bouncing back up. All right, CAD to come down a bit before bouncing back up. Let's look at this possibility where you could be looking at 1.3490, stop loss 40 pips, take profit could go to 1:1, or it could be looking at almost 80 pips to the upside, with a bit of a hesitation at a 1:1 level. Yeah. Okay, I think that we could see that. What's dollar doing? Tried to break, still held by that 103 level, so I think that's reasonable. Could push down a little bit, looking for it to bounce. In fact, if it does bounce, then you could be looking at a bit of an earlier one, like about 1.3480. Stop loss 30 pips, take profit 80. Okay, 1.3480. Stop loss 30 pips. Take profit 80 pips. All right. So with that done, then let's look at gold. Everyone's asking about gold. Okay, gold. Oh, it is trading down. What are you guys saying? Support seems that mixed feelings may bounce. What's about gold? Okay, looking at this, I think yesterday we were saying that it's going to downside potential to 1970 and then possibly range around that level. How I see this, definitely a big support. I'll take this away because it's not valid anymore. Definitely a big support here at 1970. Upside, more relevant level will be here. Take that away and that for now. Okay. So what I think is possible on gold. Hang on, what am I doing on my chart? Okay, just do that. Okay. Is that it's going to bounce, but I think that it's going to bounce and then turn back down. Okay, so let's put in, for example, the RSI. All right, it does show that it's going to bounce on H4 time frame. Yeah, I think it's still going to go down. All right, what I think is going to happen on the gold is that, okay, here we go. This view tested 23.6. Dollar index testing this level. So I think it's going to, as we think it's going to push up. This is now pushing up a little bit. So it's going not in alignment with the correlation. But I do think that we might see it trade up. Wait, take this away for now. Right? Because of that equal low, right? Because of the equal low there, I think that it could trade up. Do another level here. And that's possibly 50%. To this could come out here again. Okay, so what I'm thinking, I wouldn't be jumping in on a buy. I'll be looking for it to trade up, test 1985 and turn back down. Right, test 1985 and turn back down, then I would be looking for that short position. So about 1980, below 1984. Stop loss at about 1986 or 87, and then back down to this level, to the equal low again. Then if it does come down to this point, you could even look at it to go down to the support of 1970. Okay, I think that, so that's the view on gold. Because of that equal low, big sustained push to the upside, right? Especially if the dollar does break above 103 and rise up possibly towards 103.50, then I think that that's definitely going to apply that downward pressure on gold. Make sense so far for everyone who's asked about gold? Does that align with your view, or do you guys think that it's going to have a bounce and it's going to go back up all the way? Let me know. Put it into the chat. You're most welcome there, Jordan. Okay, cool. Aligns, fantastic. So yeah, I think it's going to bounce and then turn back down again. 23.6 might provide that resistance. If not, then definitely or most likely 38.2. But I don't see any reason why it should bounce too much. Okay, so with that, then looking at the pound yen, we looked at this hit and turned back down. That was last week or yesterday. It did hit and turn back down a little bit. Right now, looking like it's pushing up. Why is it pushing up? Some upward push on the pound dollar. US yen also showing a little bit of an upside. So on the pound yen, could see it rise towards that 172. I think what could happen here on the pound yen is it could get up to 172. Then, if that pound dollar weakness does come back into play, we could see it push back down again, right? Because again, big resistance level there, right? So we take these away because it's not just messing up my charts. There's a big resistance there, so I think we could see it trade up to 172. But at 172, you would have to wait to see what's the reaction. I wouldn't. I would like to say that I could see more upside, but if we looked at this, 172 was even back in October last year that it had a big reaction, and it's reversed strongly from there. Okay, so I'll be very, very careful if I will look to buy it above that 172 level. In fact, I think as we were talking about this on the yen, this might be a better pair to consider a counter trend trade. Right, might be a better pair to consider a counter trend trade. For example, 171.85. Stop loss about 40 pips, take profit. Initial could be 90, and then we could look at further downside from there. Okay, so something to look at on the pound yen. Euro yen, same thing as that resistance. Euro dollar, we were talking about, some downside, so it might drag the euro yen down with that 50% holding, likely to hold. So again, very similar view. I think it could see that push back down. Still very early days there on the euro yen. Okay, and then on to Spiro's questions on the CAD yen. Right, looks like it is coming out of that overbought region, going to push back up a bit. I think that this has the, it's, look at the CAD. We are thinking it's going to push up. It has the opportunity to push up if it bounces off this level. So CAD yen, I think that we could see some further upside, right? With the next level at about 103.50 for the upside. So on H1 time frame, if it does break above that previous high of 102.50 there, then you could be looking for that next leg to the upside there on the CAD yen. Okay, I hope I answered your question there, Spiros, on the CAD yen. Then the Aussie CAD trading down because of the Aussie dollar pushing down. The CAD pushing down. I think this one, big strong support that is broken. We could see this bounce, turn back down again. I'm still looking at the downside here. right? So we're looking at this, looking if I test and turn down. If it does reject that 8955 level, next big support is at, next big support is at 8873. Okay, so you can see that whole consolidation there. I think that on the, and it's actually a very good spot, I would say. Aussie CAD, we could be looking for it to test, reject, turn back down. Safer option will be, could look for a test. And I think safer option will be 8930. Stop loss 30 pips. Take profit would be almost 60 pips to the downside. Okay. Again, Spiros, hope I answer your question there on the Aussie CAD. Then looking at the SPX, shot up. Okay, I don't like looking at it on the H1 time frame mostly, but it broke out that consolidation. We do see a bit of a resistance on H1 at that 41.79 level, or about 41.80 level. Just like a nice round number, so about 41.80. Look, and you can see that this level was 41.85. We saw that in Feb, big hit and big retrace. Again in early May, hit and retrace. So I think that it could push up still, right? I think might be an initial reaction where we see it push up, and then after that turn back down. Again, this is if that dollar strength does push through, inverse relationship again, we could see this push up, hit, and then start to turn back down. Okay, start to turn back down. I don't think it'll be a big move like what we saw in Feb. It'll probably push back down into this consolidation area of between 4100 and 4143. So, just a brief retrace back into that consolidation. No big news. I think what's happening on the indices is that, as a lot of you have been asking the question, what's the debt ceiling going to do to the dollar? What is it going to do to the economy as a whole? I think that's where everyone is holding their breath a little bit, waiting to see how it plays out. So I think it's a little bit consolidative with that resistance at 41.86 or 41.85. Okay, then NASDAQ. Checking that out. Well, it moved a lot later than we thought, so it did bounce back up. Okay, so when it does bounce back up, I think we could see this bounce. Again, I don't think it's going to move that much. It is holding a bit of a resistance at 55.30 there. Okay, good question there. Let me find an example. All right, so Suki asked the questions on looking at support resistance lines and how far do we look back, and do I set, when I send out targets and say sell X and Y, we're setting up buy limit orders. Okay, so in terms of support resistance levels, what I look for, I look for relevant points, right? So relevant areas. Tip, like for example, the US CAD, no, was it Swiss franc? Yeah. So I'll look at the US Swiss franc, for example. I'll be looking back to see where it reacts. Oh, I think it was a better example where. Okay, that one. Right, so as it breaks, then I'll be looking back to this point. I look for the next level or the next swing point as a support level. Obviously, we know that this will be a big support, but in the middle, before that, we have a swing point. So there is no hard and fast rule on how far back to look, but I do look for the next relevant point that we can identify. Okay, hope I answer your question there in terms of support resistance. And in terms of a range, yeah, there needs to be space between a support resistance. Typically, it depends on what time frame you're trading, H1 or H4, depends on how far apart it should be. Okay, and then when we talk about these targets, um, it's I don't like setting pending orders. I don't like setting the orders too much, buy limit or sell stops and all that, because I like to see how it hits, how it reacts at that point. So I wouldn't say that I set an order. I would say those are levels that we, for example, like what we talk about. Where was it? Okay, like these. We want to see it hit, trigger, we want to see it close before we will look to sell down. Okay, so it's really up to you how you want to do it. You can set orders, but because I do sit here and watch the chart a lot of the time, so I do like to enter at market rather than to set the orders. All right, no worries, Suki. Very new, so just curious of how you check the volume. Do you access tick charts? I don't actually look at volume in terms when we're looking at FX. In FX terms, volume, you don't really get a true number on volume. You don't get a true volume indication. So I don't check volume too much or at all. It's not available. I would say it's not available. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't look at volume in FX. Okay, US yen is moving up very nicely. That's why I'm like, I need to get off. I need to start trading. Dollar index did a big jump. I saw that. So it is trying to get to that big upward push. We do have a lot of other, that's not ready yet on the Kiwi dollar, Aussie dollar getting ready, still a bit undecided. US yen is coming up to that level, so I would rate this very low as a counter trend. I want to look for that upward move. 2 minutes to the hour close, so could be that kind of move that we're looking at. Pound dollar pushing lower could be a quick, easy, fast trade there or quick trade there. Euro dollar retracing, so I like this retrace. Right, hour close could see a push to the downside. Swiss franc pushing up, dollar index pushing up, that's holding there, could look to push up as well. So it all depends on what this DXY is going to do. No, so I do look at chart analysis, I look at price action, support, resistance levels, trend, and very importantly on the fundamentals. I do spend a lot more time on the fundamentals. Okay, so if you haven't already, let's take this discussion into Discord. We'll catch you all there. In the meantime, do trade well, do trade safe. I'll see you all tomorrow. But I think that there are a lot of opportunities coming around. I will be sharing them in the Discord channel as it comes up. All right, so take care now. Bye bye.